I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to the City of South Fulton's council meeting. I see we got a lot of pink and green in the house. Alpha, Kappa, Alpha. Glad that you all are here. Mr. Burke, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor William Bill Edwards.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Catherine Rao.
Here.
Councilmember Carmelita Gumbs.
Here.
Councilmember Helen Z. Willis.
Here.
Councilmember Naima Gilliard.
Here.
Councilmember Rosie Jackson.
Here.
Councilmember Khalid. And Councilmember Mark Baker.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Okay, we'd like to have an invocation by our chaplain, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Chaplain. Let us stand. Let us pray. Once again, oh God, we are eternally grateful for the blessings that we recognize you bestowed upon our city, the blessings upon our mayor and council, and all those who are employed and get dedicated their services to make this city one of a kind. We ask that your anointing fall upon this place so that all that is said and done we truly give you credit for what you've done. This we pray and we thank you. Let us all say, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, your first item is a request for approval of the consent agenda, and that includes your meeting minutes from Tuesday, June 13th and Tuesday, June 20th, as well as a proclamation for spreading on the minutes for Mrs. Katie Sue Dennis Wimbish. In addition to that, during the work session at 5 o'clock today, council has moved 3 items to the consent agenda, also to be considered collectively with one vote and no discussion. On page 2 of the agenda, those 3 items, the first one is a resolution approving a cable television franchise agreement between the City of South Fulton and Comcast. The second item is an ordinance to adopt business and occupation taxation ordinance. And that item has also been amended with an effective date of October 1st, 2017. And third is the second item under ordinances, an adoption of excise taxation of adult beverages ordinance. So those 3 regular meeting items have been moved to the consent agenda for consideration by mayor and council with one vote.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Been properly moved to second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, that passes. Mr. Clerk?
Next item is a request to approve the regular meeting agenda as amended. So that would, in effect, give you the opportunity to discuss the resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of South Fulton and Fulton County, and then for first reading purposes only, under ordinances, items Roman numeral 3 through 6. That's an adoption of an ordinance establishing a planning commission, establishing a zoning board of appeals, establishing a code enforcement board, and then also establishing building regulations.
One correction, the IGA moved to executive session.
Yes.
So it's not going to be discussed.
Okay.
All right? Withdrawing that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the meeting agenda. Second.
Properly moved to second. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it, that passes. Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, you have 2 proclamations for presentation today, or tonight. The first item is sponsored by Councilmember Willis, and it's a proclamation recognizing Pastor Warren L. Henry Sr. Appreciation Day.
Those who want to come down.
I'd like for everyone to come. Kingdom of God, Reverend Henry Elect. Do you want to come and surround it? So Reverend Henry, it's an honor to have you representing District 3 as a city chaplain, with the entire city as a city chaplain, but it's an honor to have you as a pastor, community pastor in District 3, and also it's also an honor to have you as the community support that we call on and depend on often. So today, the city of South Fulton, whereas Pastor Warren L. Henry Sr. is the founder and senior pastor of Kingdom of God Evangelistic Outreach Ministry. The church was dedicated as the Kingdom of God International Ministry, and the ministry started in September 1992. And whereas Pastor Henry has strived to be a servant in all of Fulton County by giving of himself, which has been demonstrated over and over again, including with the human tragedies on Jones Road, Camp Creek Parkway, and with Langston Hughes students at Georgia 92 and Butner Road. Whereas he is helping to lead the way to a spiritual, physical, and mental quality of life. This has been done through his leadership as a community pastor, post-certified police officer, certified firefighter, and last but not least, a servant to all the citizens of South Fulton. Whereas the church has given back to the community in many ways. It has been a place where elected officials has gathered. The planning and strategy for the city of South Fulton were conducted there, and Pastor Henry has been instrumental in starting Angela's House, the restorative board of the Magistrate Court Community Service Program. Now therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and city council of the city of South Fulton congratulate Pastor Warren L. Henry Sr., the Kingdom of God International Ministry, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 27th, 2017, a Pastor Warren L. Henry Sr. appreciation in the city of South Fulton, Georgia. We really appreciate you.
Yeah! All right now. Yes, sir.
I just want to say something. When I first became county commissioner, one thing we didn't have in South Fulton was a chaplain. And we created the chaplain position. I could think of no person better to give that position than Warren Henry. And he has been there. I mean, I used to go out on tragic incidents, but after about 19 bodies, I quit. But he has been there for us in so many ways. And nobody told him he had to be a certified police officer. He out there with them young boys, about to kill himself. and then he went back and did the fire. I said, man, you crazy. But he has been such a jewel to our community. My brother, I love you. I appreciate you.
That's all right.
I just want to say that I don't know what I would have done in our district when our kids were in that terrible accident if it had not been for Pastor Henry. He held their hands and he held mine because I was so emotional about it, I didn't know what to do. And so he has always been there, and just like you said, not just for one thing, but for everything. And I love you, and I thank you.
That's right.
As an elected official, this is my first proclamation, and I told him I wanted to make sure that he be awarded with my first proclamation. I would not do it. I would not have, I'm very careful about who I give a proclamation to, and this was the first person I wanted to honor. Thank you.
Let me just say that for whatever I may have done wrong, blame him. No, but to our honorable mayor and to our city council, thank you all for the contribution in allowing me to serve our city. I want to thank our Board of Commission and for the county police, fire, the courts for all allowing me to serve within the county in those many capacities. I want to thank the members of the kingdom.
Yes.
And my wife and first family right there is my second oldest daughter and two of my grandchildren standing there, Jade and Janae, raise your hand. I'm grateful for them. When we purchased the church edifice right across from the park, you could easily go across the street and ask people in the park, where's the closest church? And they would say, I don't know. We decided then to put a steeple on that edifice and give it back to the community. And to all of you here who have walked in that church, who have sat in those pews in those classrooms to help with making the city what it is, thank you for allowing us to be the city in the heart of the community, with the community at heart. We thank you for this because you've allowed us to live out our dream and vision by walking in that place and allowing us to give that church back to the city. Thank you all so very much. Thank you.
Hold on. Wait a minute. We got first step.
We got to jog, we got to run it.
You ready?
Yes, on three.
1, 2, 3. One more. 2 more, actually.
Thank you all.
The next proclamation is a proclamation recognizing Gary Davis, Next Level Boys Academy Appreciation Day.
I guess you can bring my people up too.
Son, little Gary.
Yeah, I would like, if everyone, if you're here to support Next Level Boys Academy, come up front. My wife, my kids.
So as everybody who supported Mr. Davis Walks Forward, I'd like to say, when I was 10 years old, right,
at my church in Chicago, I received a book from Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu called the Conspiracy, Countering the Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. So when I received that book, the thing that stood out the most as I got older and received all 5 volumes and all of his other books was that you can't teach a child you don't love, you can't teach a child you don't understand, and you can't teach a child that you're afraid of. And that resonates with me in my life and throughout everything I've done in the school system. And I've heard of Brother Davis because he's right in Union City in our backyard. And I had so many young people from Renaissance Middle School who ended up with him. And his diligence in the courts in saving our young black boys on a regular basis, Brother Khalid could attest as well. He's been there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I know I don't miss at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning if I can. I think I only missed since when we had the 5K. But it's like being in there, listening to the experiences, and watching how he works and how he's there, and they know that he loves them, he understands them, and he's definitely not afraid of them. So, with that being said, this proclamation by the City of South Fulton, whereas the City of South Fulton supports and recognizes the excellent work of Mr. Gary Davis, continues to provide the South Fulton community through his diversionary program, Next Level Boys Academy, and whereas Next Level Boys Academy offers homework help, mentoring, sports, and small group discussions dealing with issues, challenges that young men are facing in their schools, in their community, in their communities. And whereas to this end, Mr. Davis places strong emphasis on the importance of reading techniques on how to obtain good study habits and having good communication skills, and the importance of respecting authority. Whereas Mr. Davis's focus is on teaching young men and boys on the steps of how to become a leader, practicing good eating habits, anti-bullying, and learning ways to gain self-confidence and avoid violence or gang activity. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council of the City of South Fulton congratulate Mr. Gary Davis and the Next Level Boys Academy on their diversionary program, and do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 27, 2017 as Gary Davis and Next Level Boys Academy Appreciation Day in the City of South Fulton. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be short. Everyone's been at work all day. But first and foremost, I have to give honor to God who gave me this vision about 8 years ago to just start a movement for young black boys. And I'd like to acknowledge the mayor, Councilman Baker. I do find it an honor to just to be up here for the new City of South Fulton, because there's so many people that are doing so many great things in this city, and to acknowledge the hard work that we do at Next Level Boys Academy. I find it an honor to receive this award. I'd like to thank my wife and my kids for the sacrifices that they make to work with over 300 young men a year, ages 5 to 25. Elementary school, from working with a young man who grew up in the foster care system, just giving him hope, to a young man who's facing 20 years in prison, to give him hope. So we're all over the place. I appreciate you all. God bless you so much. Thank you.
We got one more member.
Y'all coming some more? Coming some more? Yeah.
You want to come on in?
Yes. I'm gonna have to go out slow. There we go. One more? All right, one more. That's it.
Okay. That's what you meant when I was in the way. Is that what you meant when you said I was in the way? Shoots, bro.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we're now at the public comment section of today's agenda, and we have received 7 speakers, a list of 7 speakers. The first speaker is College Park Councilman Joe Carnes, and following Councilman Carnes is Ms. Renata Robinson and Mr. Frederick Zan.
Right, good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. First, just wanted to come by. I said I was going to try to make it by one of your council meetings to see you all in action. It was great seeing everyone down in Savannah at the Georgia Municipal Association Conference. It's just so great seeing you all up there, and just becoming a city was so important to this county. It's kind of like a big jigsaw puzzle, and you get finished, but you got one piece missing, and you're frustrated because you can't find that piece, but you all are that missing piece of the puzzle that we really needed for all of our cities to be able to function together and this county to be cityfied completely, well, almost completely. We still got one little bit to go and add on to y'all. But just wanted to come by and let you all know anything we can do to help. We're neighbors, and you know, mutual aid is not just something for the fire department. They do it without us even asking, mutual aid. But it's got to apply to the police department. It's got to apply to code enforcement. It's got to apply to all the other things, especially policing. Y'all are a big, big, big city, and there's no way you could put a police on every corner. But there's some ways and some techniques and some things you can do to really accomplish a safe community. And when you pick that police chief, take your time and get the right person for the right kind of policing that you want in your community. And I was just glad to see y'all had the pastor up here. The church is a huge part of y'all having a good community. You gotta include the church in everything you're doing. You know, politicians, we have a tagline for our cities: live, work, and play. We always talk about that. But we forget it's live, work, play, and worship. You gotta add worship in there, because a lot of us in this city are retired, so we don't work no more. And a lot of us sure don't play much anymore. So you gotta add worship in that component with everything you do. It will make for a much better community, which is something I'm sure y'all already know, but officially putting it in and making sure that's a part of the program with everything y'all do is so important. So that's all I got. I'm gonna hush up, but I'm just glad to see everybody getting it together and working together. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Renata Robinson and then Mr. Frederick Zan.
Good evening. To the mayor and city council members of the newly established city of South Fulton, I am Renata Robinson, president of Tau Epsilon Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. On behalf of our 329 members, including those who are standing, as well as Councilman Gumbs, I would like to extend well wishes and a warm congratulations on the establishment of your new city and on your election. Since 1991, Tau Epsilon Omega has strived to be a chapter that is large enough to serve, but small enough to care. It is our honor and privilege to give back to our community through program initiatives focused on educational enrichment, health promotion, family strengthening, environmental stewardship, and global impact. In addition, we support our many local partners with volunteers, donations, and collaborations. We are also proud to provide scholarship opportunities through our nonprofit affiliate, the 20 Pearls Foundation Incorporated. This year, we awarded $27,500 in scholarships to 14 phenomenal students. And as with years past, more than 80% of our college-bound awardees are graduates of high schools in South Fulton, most notably Langston Hughes, Westlake, and Benjamin Banneker. We have a proud 26-year tradition of rendering service and helping others in the cities of College Park and East Point and in the formerly unincorporated community of South Fulton. Throughout our history in South Fulton, we have worked hard to make a positive impact, as briefly outlined in the hard copy that you have. Tau Epsilon Omega is a chapter of diverse women with diverse interests and talents. We are a strong and impactful chapter because of our membership. Indeed, nearly 20% of our members live within the boundaries of the city of South Fulton. Tau Epsilon Omega stands ready to partner with you, each and every one of you, in service to others in ways that will continue to make a positive difference for our South Fulton community. We extend best wishes for your success and celebrate your dedicated and untiring leadership of Fulton County, Georgia's third largest city. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Frederick Mann, Mr. Michael Venable, and Ms. Linda Collins.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Frederick Van. I live off 92. What I do now as I'm a retiree is I do volunteer work. Now as members with the Mission Continues. I do individual projects, like I did one on 92, pick up the trash that was in front of Publix, and I do things like that. I just want to introduce myself that if you, I see a need for the trash. So I've been here since 2005, and I'm willing to help out to clean up the city if you just let me know what needs to happen.
Good evening, my name is Michael Venable. I wanted to speak on the topic of our Planning and Community Development Department. I think it's a perfect time now to correct some of the injustices that have happened in the past when we're unincorporated, the same way as that each area has a district representative. I think all the appointments from the various boards need to specifically come from those districts. I can remember that community was disenfranchised when you had people from Atlanta and East Point trying to talk about Cliftondale, and you had people from Sandtown and Welcome All trying to discuss Cascade, and it just was if you don't live there, you just don't see it. Point two, it may be viable to move zoning appeals to an advisory board the same way that zoning board is. I've seen in the past to where elected officials made decisions and then non-elected group actually undid all those decisions. My opinion, that should just go away completely, and any appeal needs to go back to the mayor and to the council itself in there, but that's a decision they need to talk about. But those things I think are important to go forward and evaluate in making these decisions and move forward to, so that everyone can be fairly representative of the different issues for the various areas of the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Following Ms. Linda Collins, Ms. Melissa Patterson, and Mr. Marcus Coleman. Ms. Collins may not be here, so Ms. Melissa Patterson and then Marcus Coleman.
Mayor Edwardson, Councilman, new to the area, new to Atlanta, new homeowner in South Fulton, so it's an exciting time. But being here, I've noticed that there is, just like he mentioned, a lot of trash up and down Fletch Shoals, Old National, in the parking lots of Kroger and Walmart and those things. And I make calls to see what we can do about it. But, you know, the residents from my area, I'm in Fletcher's Manor, new housing development, and you come out of your housing development and it's terrible. And I don't know what forum I need to speak on that, so I chose to come here today. And I'm not sure what plans you have, but the grooming of the city, you know, we have a new thing going on. It's an exciting time, and I will hope that we will find a way to keep our lawns. I don't know if it's the city's responsibility or, you know, it doesn't look as if it's a residence area. So I'm concerned about that. You know, you come off of exit 66 that shows, you see garbage bags split open, trash just fluttering all down the street. And it's embarrassing. You know, when you invite people to your home, you pay a lot of money to live in your home, and you're surrounded with trash. So I'm hoping that you all will consider that as well as you start to make the city beautiful again, bringing in businesses and things like that. And I see your hard work. I got on your website. I made my way there. So I'm just paying attention, and anything that I can do, I'm more than willing to help. But I just hope that you consider that as a resident, new to Atlanta, Georgia, and a new homeowner here. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. It truly is an honor to address you, Mr. Mayor and Council. We'll talk very fast. I got a couple of issues. My first issue, it's going to be complex because it deals with a pocket of Union City that is right in your district, Ms. Jackson, Hateville Charter Academy. Listen, I got close friends that coach over there at Hateville Charter Academy. In the last 4 years, they have given out 38 football, D1, 38 scholarships, some of them D1. We know they have no practice facility, but they literally are practicing in dirt. You literally had a D1 recipient, scholarship recipient, tear ligaments because he was practicing on a field that was unleveled, literally in dirt, and literally right along Buffington Highway. They literally have, and I'm not a spokesman for the school, I'm just CEO of my organization, former president of the National Action Network, founder of the National Action Network here in Atlanta. We've got balls during practice that are going into the streets being ran over. We have coaches that are creating human chain lines just to prevent students, athletes that might go beyond the barrier. So Union City will be addressed, but I wanted to know, will this council partner with Union City Council and Mayor, considering that District 5 surrounds that school and many of our students are basically roses that are growing from the concrete. 2, Union and Butner, Mrs. Willis, there is a intersection, it's not really an intersection. It is Butner Road, it has a crossing, it's not a 4-way, but it's like a 2-way. We have had multiple accidents, even fatalities right there. It is me and my colleagues' idea that there be a flashing light, Mr. Mayor, that is similar to when you're coming off of Campbellton Road, getting ready to hit Camp Creek, you have those flashing lights letting you know there's a deep curve. The statistics will prove for themselves that will be a safety net. We need to prevent the tragedies. Last but not least, my bread and butter, as we get ready to have this new police department, we've seen what happens in cases like the murder of Philando Castile, Ariston Waiters, even in Union City. Inexhaustible immunity is allowed to law enforcement, so you as the council have the opportunity to be proactive to try to curb and prevent the shootings. So what are we doing about vetting? Is there going to be more psych evaluations, especially when it comes to veterans? Are we going to implement community policing with Mr. Baker? You spoke about some resident incentives. We really have the opportunity here to curb this 86% black, because we know the probability for our children to get gunned down is here, so we can be proactive. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, that takes you to page 2 of today's agenda under ordinances, Roman numeral 3, adoption of ordinance establishing the planning commission for the city of South Fulton. This is for first reading.
Council.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is the ordinance we discussed in the working session. It establishes the planning commission, which will have an active role in the planning and zoning of the city of South Fulton. The planning commission will have jurisdiction over persons seeking to amend the zoning ordinance, people seeking a variance from the zoning ordinance, and they will make decisions on whether to grant those amendments or variances or changes. Addressing one of the points that was raised in the public comment and pursuant to the charter, each member of the Planning Commission must reside within the city of South Fulton, and they are nominated by a city council member and voted on by the full city council. The Planning Commission will make its own rules and procedures, which are subject to approval by the city council. Pursuant to a proposed amendment by the city council during the work session, a city employee will serve as the secretary of the Planning Commission, will provide the appropriate staffing and information to the Planning Commission, as well as maintain the records to the Planning Commission as well. These also pursuant to an amendment discussed at the city at the work session, that piece will be mandatory, as opposed to that it has to be a city council person, and that the mayor's appointee or nominee will vote only in the case of a tie. So this is one of the 3 boards we'll be discussing tonight. It is informational only, and this is the one that sits in more of an administrative role, reviewing decisions, not deciding whether a decision of a city official or of another board.
We know this is information only. This is the first reading, but if anyone wanted to make a motion to pass this, is it in order?
It would not be effective because it has to be read again at the next meeting.
Okay, that's my question.
Okay.
Any questions?
So from the time we pass it to the time it becomes active, or it must become active, or we must appoint someone, how long is that?
There is no time set in the proposed ordinance itself, but what you would effectively be doing is creating a body that could act, and you would want to get that filled as soon as possible. But there's not a set timeline, and as long as there's the current moratorium in existence, there would be nothing for the Planning Commission to decide at this point anyway, because anything that would come to them, the moratorium addresses. Did you want to comment?
Councilwoman Willis?
Is it okay for us to go ahead and post for solicitations or get assistance from our district on individuals who may want to serve on these boards? Is there anything wrong with that prior to the second reading?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem?
I think the city manager is going to provide additional direction, so I'd like to provide additional information for the benefit of the council and the audience.
Thank you so much. As it relates to the appointments, I just wanted to remind you of the timetable, in that our moratorium is up the 1st of August. So individuals will start making application to the city of South Fulton. I would suggest that you may want to consider getting your appointments ready so that for the next meeting, you all can propose your appointments and the council can vote on it. And then they can go through their 8 hours training and be ready for the 1st of August.
Councilman Khalid?
Again, for the benefit of the audience, could we go over the attendance requirements for?
The Planning Commission, as opposed to the zoning board, does not have an independent attendance requirement, but I will say that it could mirror either by the decision of the city council or by the decision of the Planning Commission what is on the zoning board. And that is that there is effectively a mandatory 75%, or that any person who is a member of the commission and does not attend 75%, misses 75% of the meetings, that person will lose their seat. And that is there to maintain, and other cities have similar things, counties have similar things. It's a minimum, state has similar things, attendance requirement. It is, I believe it has actually been amended that would also be in the Planning Commission as well. I'll check with the clerk and that will show up at the next
So the attendance, just to be clear, is a 25% mandatory?
That's correct.
You said that this is more than 75% of the meetings, which would give you 25%.
Okay, he did say that, but
Looking
clear it up.
Look, the language, and again, it's from the zoning board of appeals, and we'll check to make sure that, to determine if that, when it comes back to you for a vote, will be presented to you with the same language. But from the zoning board, what it is, that the city, as it read then, although it's been amended, if any member of the zoning board fails to attend 3 consecutive meetings or fails to attend 75% or more of the meetings within a calendar year, that's the standard. So I misspoke, and I apologize.
So 3 consecutive meetings or 7.
Correct.
Are you finished, Councilman? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
I move that we align the planning commission's attendance requirements with the zoning board as stated by council.
Second.
Properly moved second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous, that passes. Go right ahead.
If I may, I just wanted, perhaps if you could explain to those in attendance the terms, given that we'll be appointing them and it'll be subjected to our terms.
Yes, and that was another area I believe the council also suggested, or that has adopted an amendment. The terms would be, they would run concurrently with the actual city council member who nominates that person. I know the city council's terms are staggered based on, at least for this very first term, and so it would be the same amount as that city council person. There's a term limit of 3 terms. It was originally 2. It has been amended to 3 terms, and that's either consecutive or non-consecutive in terms of the term limit itself.
As well as for those with in districts 1, 3, 5, and 7, that 1 year will count as a complete term.
That is correct.
Any further discussion? Okay, being done, Mr. Clerk.
The next ordinance is to establish the zoning board of appeals.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, this is another board that sits in an appellate capacity. So once a decision is made by the planning commission and/or by a city official on a zoning matter, it first is appealed to the zoning board of appeals. Like the planning commission, each member of the zoning board of appeals shall be nominated by every member of the city council, including the mayor. Like the planning commission, every member so nominated must also be approved by a majority of the council. And like the planning commission, the mayor's member or nominee shall not vote unless there is a tie. The terms are also similar in that they shall not serve more than 3 terms consecutive or non-consecutive. There will be a chair, a vice chair. There are provisions in the ordinance for removal. This also addresses part of the comments in the public comment period that the city council would have an opportunity to remove members of the zoning board of appeals at the pleasure of the council. The attendance requirement is the same as we have discussed with the planning commission. The zoning board of appeals will establish its own rules subject to the approval of the city council. There are a few decisions left to be decided at the next meeting, and that is at what point is the deadline for appealing a decision that is made, and whether that is going to be a 15-day as it is in some jurisdictions or a 30-day as it is in other jurisdictions. But the decisions of the zoning board of appeals as currently drafted would be appealed to the Superior Court of Fulton County by a writ of certiorari and not go directly to the city council.
Any questions? Any questions? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, the next ordinance is adoption of an ordinance establishing the Code Enforcement Board for the city of South Fulton.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, this is the last of the boards that is on this first reading informational tonight. This is the board that is in some ways a combination of a planning commission and an appellate board. Its jurisdiction is the building code. Your next ordinance up for discussion is the building code, so these two might blend together a bit, but your building code establishes what are the minimum standards for electricity, for fire safety, for supporting walls and so on, most of which are set by industry standards adopted by the state of Georgia and most other jurisdictions throughout the state. This is a board that has the similar appointment or nomination and appointment as the prior two. Training would have to be 8 hours to sit on the board. The terms would be the same, also a 3-year term limit as amended from 2, I believe. The board would set its own times for meetings, and they would be addressing things where if someone has been fined or cited for a violation of the building code, it could be that the electricity is not up to standard. It could be that, and we're talking outside the context of someone who's grandfathered. It could be that the construction is not going according to code. That person would first have an opportunity to resolve it, and then they would have to come back, if necessary, to the code enforcement board to address the alleged violation. As is currently drafted, decisions of the Code Enforcement Board also go to the Superior Court of Fulton County on a writ of certiorari.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
If we were to allow, if we were to have the code enforcement violations heard by the courts, what would the board still, what would their function still be?
The board, if the code enforcement was going to be heard by the courts, and some cities do. If you're cited for a violation, you go straight to municipal court. The city is typically represented by a city solicitor, and it can be a trial or a settlement depending on the will of the parties. If that were to be the case, then what the building commission could do is decide certain issues of variance or waiver, much like the planning commission does with the zoning code, the building commission could do with the building codes. And that what we call the quasi judicial role would be removed, and they would sit in rather an administrative role.
But is it, may I interject?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it true that even now that some of our code enforcement people kind of decide whether they want it in the municipal court or before the code board?
I believe that to be an option. I can't say for certain how it operates in Fulton County.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So we
You
need to look at that, because I know Ronnie knows some things they want them to hear. Other things they feel that need to go to the municipal court. Any further questions? Being none, Mr. Burke.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, the last ordinance is an adoption of an ordinance establishing building regulations, and this one is also for first reading.
Mayor, members of council, this gets to the jurisdiction of the Code Enforcement Board, as we discussed. Most of your building codes are international standards, the International Building Code, Fuel Gas Code, Mechanical Code, etc. This is an ordinance that adopts those standards, which have also been adopted by the state of Georgia, and in some ways, in many ways, must be adopted by the city for that reason alone. It is a very basic and baseline proposed ordinance that establishes, like I said, adopts those ordinances. For the most part, the council may build on to this and have additional things, as was discussed in the work session meeting. And for that reason, you will be seeing an amended proposed building regulation that addresses, for the example, construction of apartments. And there will be language that is brought before you at the next meeting that any new apartments in the city must be steel-based as opposed to wood-based apartments. And also, they will have and that would be standard across the entire city. There are provisions in the version that is before you that addresses appeals. Those provisions should not be in the ordinance, but if someone were to go online, the proper place to look for that would be the Code Enforcement Board, as this was a version that predated we wanted to make sure that the Planning Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, and the Code Enforcement Board operated similarly across the city. And so that's why that's a separate one now, and it's been pulled out of the building code ordinance proposal.
One thing I neglected to ask you last time, it has to do with recidivism. People coming back to the board for the same thing, more than once. I think that we need to have something in there that elevates to the third time, it gets a little higher for you or something, because I see that happen a lot. That people come in for high grass and weeds 5 or 6 times in 6 months. And so we need to have something in there to deal with that. The other thing is that I know that on abandoned houses, Mr. Councilman, that one of the things we did for the county was that if you boarded it up and painted it, you were fine. But I think what's happening is these places are still becoming what we call attractive nuisances. I think we need to go beyond, especially on some buildings that have been set vacant for numerous years. There needs to be something in there where we can dispose of those buildings without being a cost to the taxpayer. All right, so I would like you to research those 2 things for me.
Yes, sir.
One thing I also would like to look at is in terms of looking at the actual property, making sure, and this is really dealing with, we see it primarily with commercial properties, that you're changing the ownership to try to avert appearing as a repeat offender. So if we could look at that as well, make sure we have some teeth to prevent that from occurring.
Council, one other thing I want you to look into. I'd like to have a rental inspection program. And what I mean by that is, you know, most people, especially these guys that come in and they buy 5 or 6 houses and then they fix them up. They fix them up so they pass muster and they never see the house again. And you had about 5 or 6 different renters to come in. I'd like to have a rental inspection program that charges the renter a fee to be on the list. So if you pay me $75, it also would help. It also would help with code enforcement into locating who owns the property. So I would like for you to look into a rental inspection program. Those are just some of the highlights I'd like to see in it. Councilwoman.
What I would like to see, if we can have an ordinance saying if a dwelling is uninhabitable, that the city will not be liable for relocation.
Any further comments? Are you finished, Scott? Okay. Any further comments on this issue? Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Next item on the agenda is the city manager's weekly update.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, it's with indeed a pleasure to give you an update on the activities since last Tuesday and what we've been doing. But before I do that, I want to give kudos to the staff. You really only have about 6 people trying to make all of this happen. And I know, because I watched them and I know how hard they're working. And I just want the public to know that there are 6 dedicated employees working for them to try to bring this to fruition. Just a few brief highlights from all of the different areas that are in the report. One of the major meetings that I held since last Tuesday was with the Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Todd Long from Fulton County. He has been instrumental in the liaison between the city and the county, and we have met on several occasions. Our last meeting basically consisted of talking about the asset list and the inconsistencies I saw in the asset list, some things that I was told were missing from the asset list. And so we asked about those and talked about some of those. Also, the other discussion centered around the historical data, particularly as it relates to permitting, code enforcement, and GIS. Of course, we understand that the county's position is that is their data. If we can get the data and house it between now and Friday for permitting, they have no problem. If we do not get the data, then, well, of course, you can always get it through a public records request, but that might be a minor cost. So we're still trying to figure out how we can go and retrieve the historical data, because as we're developing our code enforcement, as we're looking at building requirements, it's good to have the historical data to know what has happened with a piece of property and what has occurred over the years with a piece of property. And so we're continuing to work on that with the county, getting access to the historical data. Also, as it relates to that, we have begun to review the applications for positions. There's a listing in your report of the number of applications that had been received as of the 22nd of June. The two that have closed is your purchasing manager and your communications director. There were 23 applications for communications director, and there were 28 applications for purchasing. We still have advertised out there for any of our residents that would like to know. The Director of Community and Development Services, Planner 1, Planner 2, City Engineer, Senior Planner, GIS Specialist Supervisor, Permit Specialist, Risk Manager, and in the business license area, there's a business tax specialist, a business tax inspector, and an accounting associate. So all of those latter positions are still out on the website, and we are receiving applications for those positions. Just a sidebar, one of the final activities that I did on Friday is I had the great opportunity of speaking to the graduating class of our fire department, and so that was an honor, and all the elected officials that were there, I'm sure we feel real pleased with the individuals. Now, Councilwoman Jackson, I think, got the most at Station 7, but we are so proud of all of the young men. I told them the only shortcoming, there were no women in the group. So next session, they've got to have a woman up in that class for our firefighters and what we're doing there. As far as some of the other work that staff happens to be working on, the information technology area continues to be an important area for us, and that is moving forward as we work with our vendors with the final implementation, as well as getting the server specs and making sure that we have it configured and enough capacity as it relates to the information that we're asking the county to make available to us. Then also, we've been working with the web vendor for improvements of the website, and so I would like for the public to know that now when we have an RFP, that RFP is also available by our website. So you can go to the City of South Fulton website and see any of the RFPs or any of the solicitation, whether it's requests for qualifications, bids, or anything, will now be posted on our website. We've been working with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, trying to meet some of the all of their requirements there. We've had great success in working with the staff that are going to be leaving planning, but they have been very helpful in making sure everything is lined up for us as they exit, because the day was their last day with the county. Also meeting with Icon Filmworks as it relates to getting our video recordings of the city council meetings and other meetings so that we can have those posted, so that our residents that may not be able to come physically will be able to see what has been occurring, what has occurred, and what is occurring within our meetings. And so we're continuing to work on that. There have been no new hires, and until we complete the others, I won't have any new hires until we get to the communications and to purchasing. Finances work diligently as we begin to work through and starting the preparation of the 2018 budget. Staff has been meeting with the departments with the county in order to see what their current budget needs are, and they will be submitting that information to the finance department, which will be part of the 2018 budget. As well as they've been working on several areas as it relates to migrating over the data, how we're going to collect permit fees, credit cards, all those things have to take place that we need to have in place, and we're working to have those done by Friday of this week. Also working with the state, our first lost check is due by Friday, and we'll be sitting there until we know that we've got that check. And so to have that revenue starting to come in as of June the 30th will be important. We've also, the department has also been working with the insurance commissioner as a result of your approving all of those agreements and ordinances so that they have them in their record so that we are official with all of those respective entities. And then, of course, then we've got all of the things that are occurring in HR. If you look, it's a great long section of all the things that they've been doing. I just will highlight that on yesterday and today, they held individual meetings with the planning staff that have decided to come to the city. That's 6 individuals out of that department that have elected to come to the city of South Fulton. They have met with them, made them aware of the obligations, responsibilities. They've completed the applications, and soon we'll be receiving their correspondence and any further onboarding activities that will be necessary to move them forward as we begin to proceed with this. And last but not least, as I'm talking about HR, I would like to commend our Associate HR Director, and I'm going to ask her to stand, Ms. Anquilla Henderson. Prior to Ms. Henderson coming to the city of South Fulton, because the mayor told me he wanted South Fulton strong. And so that meant I had to go out and we had to find, and you interviewed some of the best people that we could have, and we have 2 great people in HR. But Ms. Henderson, prior to coming to us, was selected by National HR Magazine as a 2017 Top 25 Workforce Game Changer. And so this is the caliber that you have working for you. And to the residents, these are the caliber of employees that are committed to making sure that we do all that we can as we begin to make South Fulton the strongest city, not only in Fulton County, but in the state of Georgia. That ends my report.
Now, Madam City Manager, I'm trying to be a kind and gentle bill.
What you want to know?
But I'm tired. I'm tired of people telling me what I can and cannot have on the asset list.
All right.
You give me the list, I'll tell you what I don't want.
All right.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people telling me it's their data when we want the data. Where did the money come from that sponsored the data in the special service district? Mr. Attorney, you need to find out. They ain't got the answer, sue them. It doesn't make any sense. Everywhere we turn, it's a mess.
Yes. Tell it.
You gave fire stations to Sandy Springs for $5,000.
Tell it, that's the truth.
And you want a penny at us for every, y'all excuse me. But I want to say this publicly because I'm tired.
Yes.
I used to be one of them.
All right now.
Every time, even to the weight room in the building, you want to charge me for the equipment that's been there for so many years. You want to charge me for that. And it doesn't make sense the way they're treating us.
That's right. Tell it.
Y'all out there need to get on the phone and call Pharaoh.
Don't you worry.
All right.
Tell Pharaoh to let us go. Get off our backs and give us what you gave everybody else. Just be fair. That's all we're asking up here. We work too hard. You got 6 people doing this work.
That's right.
You got people up here working part-time jobs, they said, but they working 24/7 every day, sitting right here to my left and my right. And I got to take this mess. And it's time for it to stop. Now, I'm supposed to be the kind of general bill. I'm going to go back to that. But sometimes, you just have to say stop.
Stop.
You take us behind.
Yes.
We have to take your mess just to get things that's coming that we're supposed to be getting. We're signing an IGA to get things we're supposed to be getting that we need. And you're taking our police force, and you want to take some of our police officers and put them on Fulton Industrial to patrol 3 miles of highway. And you want to take some of our equipment, yeah, I said it, and go back and tell it.
That's right.
You want to take some of our best equipment.
Yes.
What you gonna do with a helicopter with 3 miles?
Tell it.
It doesn't make sense, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, if it doesn't happen the way we should happen, we're gonna have to go to court, y'all. I'm just sorry, we're gonna have to go to court. I know I'm gonna be blonde next tomorrow. You know, they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy. They're gonna get mad. But it's okay. It's okay. I just want you to know that we can't continue to back up and back up and back up. And sometimes we got to push forward and go to where we need to go. And so I'm saying to you, I'm giving you open. And then my counsel, even my colleagues want to say anything, I'm just I'm giving you the open door, man. If we got to go to court, let's go to court. Let's get what we want and let's go to court. Because Sandy Springs took them to court and won. We are no different than them. Thank you all so much. That was so much.
I recommend we continue that conversation in executive.
Sometimes I don't need to be in executive.
Amen.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I forgot where we were. Oh, council comment. Where am I starting from? Left this time? Okay, here.
I'm sorry, did you finish the onboarding plan? Did you go over this? You going to say anything about this?
You done? Yeah, I'm finished.
Y'all know I normally go last. Okay. Good evening. I'm just going to recap a little bit because we haven't been in front of each other for a little bit dealing with budget. So just to recap a couple of things that I've been doing and things that have been taking place in District 7 in general. My website is actually markbakerfor7.com. First of all, I have a newsletter starting beginning of next week coming out. I've attended several different HOA association meetings and concerned black clergy events, and and since Reverend Massey is here, I do want to highlight on this past Friday, we had an emergency call meeting at Orchard Springs apartment complex where there was a shooting that took place 2 days prior. And we will be having TBA, a Take Back Our Community vigil at Orchard Springs led by Reverend Massey. And I will be attending in that. We'll give you that date as soon as we have it. We did come to an agreement about what's going to happen, what's going to change, and the things that need to take place in order to take back that community. We have a lot of transient people who don't have a sense of community because they're there for a couple months and they move. They have leases, short-term leases. But still, it sits right in the belly of our city, and we still have to treat it just like it's our baby, like every place else. So we will be letting you know about that. I also wanted to let you know we still have ongoing situation with the CNA classes at Pax Allied Health. I did have a full 100% scholarship giveaway there. Everybody that attended had scholarships. They started class last Monday, and we will be having another session in about another month. So if you know anyone who's interested in CNA certified classes, let me know. Or you can call this number 404-763-0055. At this point, we currently have everybody that's come has had full scholarships. Towards the end of the year, just so you know, because we're just working with you guys, it's important that you start making these calls. I offered all of these courses to every cluster nurse in our cluster that covers the city of South Fulton to get a full scholarship. Only one of them, I'm talking about in the school, in Fulton County school system, only one of them took advantage of it. I worked in the schools for over 10 years and didn't even know that the people in the nurse's office didn't even have CNA certification. We lost a young man at the end of the school year at Creekside. We have so much going on and there's so many kids in those buildings, it's important that they get trained up as much as possible. This would have been a situation where they could have come during the summer months, get that certification, and go back to their buildings with that certification. But I've spoken to the individuals that's been offered these scholarships, and we're going to even do night classes. So please call your schools and let them know to take advantage of this program that I have going on. It could be good and it could save somebody's life one day. Nick J. Auto Repairs is still taking in apprenticeships. I have about 8 more positions left. If you know any young people that are interested in jobs for the summer, we have 8 spots left at Nick J's Auto Repair. The number is 678-251-2193. Again, 678-251-2193. We have about 8 spots available. These are earn while you learn positions where individuals are becoming certified. And they can take this training and go and get a job at any mechanic shop of their choice afterwards, but ages 16 and up. What else? I've also been a part of a Green Light Think Tank project for the Georgia Black Economic Empowerment Day, which is July 8th. I'll give you more information on the website. It should be up as soon as tomorrow. We just got back from the conference yesterday, so it's not up yet, but be on the lookout. July 8th, mark your calendars for the Georgia Economic Empowerment Day. I know the locations are going to be the Panola Road branch of Citizens Trust as well as Cascade branch. So wanted to share that with you. Camp Valley subdivision, I'll be at the HOA meeting on the 10th of July. So if you are a part of that HOA, please bring your questions, comments, and concerns so we can address it. I know I got a call yesterday morning about the tree being down, and I want to thank one of those 6 people that the city manager talked about. I was in Savannah, I called Mr. Cuffey, and by 2 o'clock the tree was removed. And that was just yesterday while we weren't there. So we're getting a lot done with little people with little help. And I appreciate you, Mr. Cuffey, for that. Last Thursday I attended Pointer Ridge subdivision real quick. I got you, Reverend Massey. I attended a Pointer Ridge subdivision HOA meeting. So I have a spot on the website where if you need me at these events, you can contact me and give me your information, and I'll be there again. MarkBakerFor7.com. And on Thursday, we have at the Old National Merchants Association business meeting at 8 a.m. we have Dr. Paul McCoy. He's going to unveil his plans for a new state-of-the-art medical center on Old National. Wow. So I need everybody who can get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and bring your $10, because they do charge $10 to come to those meetings. And they're serious about they're going to get you at the door. Pay that $10 and listen to Dr. Paul McCoy's plan for the state-of-the-art medical center on Old National. And this is, again, June 29, 2017 at 8 a.m. And if you would, just a quick, Reverend Massey.
Yes, it'll be real quick. Nobody comes to South Fulton, unlike my mayor, and are fans by city council, or my mayor, or anyone. I did plan a prayer vigil. Somebody told me I couldn't have it. The person that has HSI management, I had a little boy almost get killed in my complex. These are just black kids. They don't care. Black lives do matter. And I told them, she said, I got something to tell the mayor. I said, you can tell me, but when I tell him that, he gonna be on you like white on rice. I don't play that. I commend the first offenders that came. That boy would have died if it had not been our first. The first offenders came to police. They were there that night. I thank you for coming. Khalid, I appreciate you. Mark, I appreciate you. And this whole city council. But South, that the North need to know, they don't run the South. We need to tell them that. They might think they can get their little things through. They don't run South Side. This city council runs South Fulton. This mayor runs South Fulton. These councilmen, they don't run nothing down here. And as a housing commissioner, oh, they push me around all the time. They faint, and I fight back. And that's why I get in trouble. But I want you to know I appreciate what you're doing. We will have a prayer bridge on the 14th. If I don't, I'll stand in front of on the street, because Family Street belong to Archer Spring. I don't like nobody to tell me no. I want to get as many people out there praying for our community. Prayer changes things. And we need to be out there praying for our community that these things go away. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight, and I'm delighted to see all of you here. And I hope that you will remain engaged because this is our city, and it's going to take all of us to do what needs to be done to make things happen. Young lady, I did hear you. I heard you loud and clear, and I rode with code enforcement, and I have pointed out several things that we needed. And I'm going to go back on tomorrow to find out where we are, because I am in District 5, Old National Highway, and I promised to clean it up, and I'm going to keep my promise. Okay? Also, Councilman Corns, I appreciate what you said. You said live, work, play, but I just want, and you said worship, but I want to say live, work, play, pray, and worship.
All right.
Okay? Because when we pray,
yes,
that's all you got to do. And he'll answer if you believe. And I believe that we're going to turn this thing around. Yes. South Fulton is going to turn around. And I would also like to congratulate District 5. We got a lot of new firefighters on last Friday. She already told my story. I was all up in the pictures with her, trying to take pictures. I was so thrilled. I was so happy. And I saw these young men. They were enthusiastic and ready to go to work. And I was so pleased with that. And I would also like to invite everyone out tomorrow. That's a part of District 6. Commissioner Emma Darnell will be here on June 29th, Thursday, to have a town hall meeting. And a lot of these things, you know, we can ask questions. She's going to bring individuals out to talk to us about, you know, from the county, about what's going on, okay? And last but not least, we're getting ready for our back to school program, August the 5th. Our own Commissioner Emma Darnell will partner with District 5. And I'm looking forward for you all to come out and work with us, okay? Thank you.
Thank you for coming out tonight. I have, along with my colleagues, been in Savannah for the Georgia Municipal Association training since last Friday. Most of us just got back today. So I've learned a lot and probably will be going to another training within the next month. I did partner with Commissioner Arrington, and we hosted a 2017 tax assessment meeting, which was very successful. But of course, now there's a freeze on the tax assessment. So I know so many of you filed appeals, but we will, for what I told, get another tax assessment bill in August. Not bill, I'm sorry, it's not a bill. The 2017 tax assessment notice, we will get another notice in August, and it will be the assessment that was assessed to you last year. And I just would like to reiterate that the 2017 tax assessment notices is not a result of us creating a city. On July 29th, there will be a celebrity basketball tournament at Walcomar Park. This is the second annual tournament. And Commissioner Arrington actually works with the Georgia Spartan organization to host the event. And it will be a health fair celebrity basketball tournament. I will be partnering with Councilwoman Gums. We're meeting with the organizer because we will be collecting book bags at this event. And what we're going to do is take the book bags and supplies, and we're going to make sure that they're delivered to the schools within our district. Also on August 5th, I will be collaborating with Camp Creek Middle School. Camp Creek Middle School is in need of book bags and supplies. They are partnering with Seaborn Lee Elementary School. Seaborn Lee Elementary School has about 590 students, and Camp Creek Middle School has about 590 students. So we're asking people who live in the district, and also if you don't live in the district, if you want to contribute, please drop off book bags and school supplies to Camp Creek Middle School from 9 until 3. The principal will be there, or the secretary will be there to receive the book bag and supplies. And then on August 5th, they will have a cleanup community event and also a going back to school rally for the kids. If you have any questions concerning District 3 or concerns, please email me at helen.willis@cityofsouthfultonga.gov. I do send out a bi-weekly newsletter. If you're not receiving my newsletter, please send me your email address. Also, you can go to my website at helenzwillis.com. I have my phone number there. You can contact me via phone if you don't want to email me. Thank you. Also, if you're interested in serving on any of the boards, I know we had an executive session. If you're interested in serving on any of the boards that were mentioned tonight, please send me your email and your name, your contact information, and your resume, so that I can make sure that I review that and include you in my selection process. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank everybody for coming out, particularly the sorors for Tau Epsilon Omega. I appreciate seeing you here today. I've been making my rounds to a number of the HOAs in District 1. Had the opportunity to attend Cascade Hills HOA, and now we have scheduled Madison Trace and Wind Creek Estates. Also had the opportunity to attend the Georgia Municipal Association as well as all the other council members. We see some great training, looking forward to bring some great innovative ideas back to the city of South Fulton. If you're not currently receiving my District 1 newsletter, I have a sign-up sheet on the back table. Please sign that form, and we'll make sure you get one of the bi-weekly newsletters that we're currently disseminating. I also want to thank City Manager Ruth Jones. You did an outstanding job at the commencement for the firefighters. It was very inspiring. And I too, like Councilwoman Jackson, was very excited to see our new firemen who are coming on board to serve the residents. And so looking forward to attending the police's upcoming graduation. And last but not least, had the opportunity to encourage you to come out to see one of our newest business, Honey and Milk. It's a restaurant at West Park and Food and Industrial. And so it's an all-day brunch, so please patronize our businesses.
Good evening. Again, it is a pleasure to see everyone out. I am definitely excited to see my chapter, Tau Epsilon Omega here. Whew, look at all that pink and green. So thank you all for coming out and providing us congratulatory remarks. It's writing on my paper. So we're ready to serve and we're ready to support you as well. So thank you for your support. Also, too, 4th of July is coming up, so I want to encourage everyone to enjoy their families, but again, be safe. Also, make sure that you don't participate in the celebratory gunfire. We want to make sure that we protect our community. And I know that's one of the things that sometimes we happen to hear in our surrounding areas. So please make sure you're safe during 4th of July, but enjoy your family and your loved ones. Also, too, I will be partnering with Commissioner Arrington. So we do invite you out for a town hall meeting on the tax assessors. That will be at Wolf Creek on Wednesday, July the 5th, from 6 to 8. So we will have members from the tax assessor's office from Fulton County there. Also, they will be answering your questions and taking any applications if you also like. On Wednesday, July the 12th, I also will be hosting a series of community conversations where we will be bringing the community in along with other elected officials as well as our police department, where we can talk about safety, saving our lives, especially with the cases that have been happening with our men that have been getting shot and killed and being acquitted. So we want to have, dialogue and ways that we can protect ourselves with that. And then also too, tomorrow, well, on June 29th, I will be at Amherst HOA community meeting. They will be hosting a meeting on public safety, so I will be there. If you all have not received my newsletter, please make sure you sign up. If you go to my email, carmelita.gums@cityofsouthfulton, just let me know. I will put you on the email list, and I do send out a bi-weekly. And I think, I'm usually the longest one because I have so much to say, but I think Councilman Baker beat me today. But again, thank you all for coming out and stay engaged. This is our city together and we need your support, so thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm excited that a group of farmers in District 4 came together and they're going to have a farmer's market at Wolf Creek Park. Wilkerson Mill, I'm sorry, Wilkerson Mill Park on July the 15th and 16th. And not only will they have fresh fruits and vegetables and probably meat, correct? But there will also be other vendors. So you'll hear more about it. I'm still working on changing my website from the campaign part to the governance part. So I haven't finished it yet, but it will be on there, and it will be, the website will be District 4 Naima. And so look for District 4 at naima.com. I'm in the process of changing it. But anyway, our second initiative is our back to school family affair rather than the jamboree, also on August the 5th. And it will be at Renaissance Middle School. And so we're excited about that. This is our first one, and we plan to make it an annual affair. The third thing is an environmental committee that is just forming with 3 scientists that will help us with some of the environmental issues that we not only have in District 4, but more than likely, we don't know yet because we have a lot of mapping to do in many of our districts. And so that's my update for tonight. So just stay tuned. Thank you.
All right, first of all, I want to recognize former Commissioner Pitts. Saw him come in, so I should recognize all our elected officials. Again, happy Eid and happy Pride for those celebrating those this month. I will be back with office hours not next Tuesday, that's the 4th of July, I don't think any of us will be here. But the 11th, I'll be back from 10 to 4 with my office hours. You can sign up for my newsletter at KhalidCares.com. I do want to say thank you to everyone who sent wishes, prayers, condolences, good energy, all of that for my mom. We did have the Susan G. Komen breast cancer race was Saturday, which is why I'm wearing this band, and we did raise over $1,000 in her name. So thank you for everybody who contributed to that. And then lastly, July 11th, when we're back here, the Southwest Arts Center, the True Colors Theater, Southwest Arts Center, is going to be opening a play called Between Riverside and Crazy. It covers issues of police brutality and things like that that are going on in our community. We're going to be in the next few months hiring a police chief and setting up a municipal court. And so True Colors is committed to having community conversations. So one of the conversations that we're working on is with Black Lives Matter and the police around police brutality. So we can talk about some of these things Mr. Coleman talked about as we are setting up our own police department and hiring our police chiefs. And I do want to say thank you to Deputy Chief Halbert, who wasn't here earlier. He and the Fulton County Police did a really great job responding to some vandalism that we had last week over in the Foxfire, Flat Shoals Estate subdivisions. And we do snitch here in South Fulton, so if you know anything about any of that, this number is also, it's everywhere. This is the Fulton County Police tip line. It is 404-613-6529. It's a completely anonymous line. Again, it's 404-613-6529. You can report anything about that incident or any incidents that you know about. So thank you all so much.
I think I said enough. So I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn to executive session.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session.
Recess.
I'm sorry, not adjourn, recess to executive session.
Recess.